The capacity to bounce back from adversity. We're all going to face challenges, we're all going to face setbacks, so it's how we bounce back. It doesn't mean, if we're resilient, that we're not going to face stress at times, but resilient people basically have developed ways of coping so that they can manage more effectively that adversity, learn from it, and grow from it.
Being able to bounce back no matter what you're going through and still staying focused on whatever it is that your goal is.
Well, I think resilience is really about, when I think about my life and I think about the parts of my life where I've had a lot of trials and challenges, I felt like I was being stretched as a person. I had to learn how to grow. I had to learn how to forgive. I had to learn how to overcome certain things in my life. And I did that in the process of not breaking. So I feel like resilience is learning how to grow, learning how to challenge yourself, learning how to overcome without being consumed by it, consumed by the trial, by the challenge, and moving forward as a person.
I suppose the simplest definition would be your ability to bounce back when something difficult happens. And I think typically when I think of resilience, I think of not just bouncing back once, but after a difficult string of events, every single time you find a way to get back up and try again.
I define resilience as the ability to go into a difficult situation or be placed into a difficult situation and being able to find a way to navigate through that situation, come out on the other side, still be standing.
Certainly were mentors I had in undergraduate school, in graduate school, and along the way. And I'll tell you though, some of the people who have most helped me to develop a resilience model are the many patients, both children and adults, I've seen over the years who have basically allowed me to come into their lives and to work with them and to learn from them. So you have the professionals who have done research, who have helped me to articulate my own ideas, and then, of course, the many individuals who you meet and learn from, and hopefully they have learned from me.
Just people in general, like my family, my mom, my parents, my husband, and even just students here, former co-workers, neighbors, just people in my everyday life that I come in contact with.
Parents who are in South Africa, my professors, Professor Cummings mainly and Professor Rao.
My parents, they, instead of making moving so much a scary thing, they made it an adventure.
I think I had a writing teacher in high school who was very critical of me. And every time she gave me feedback, I would think, oh my goodness, this woman, she doesn't like me, and finally one day she sat me down and she said, I think you can be an amazing writer. I think you just need to. And to use this analogy of taking the jewel in the rough. And she would take one thing from my paper and she would say, start here and write it over. And by the end of high school, I was in, AP English classes, and I loved writing, and I didn't understand before her that feedback could actually really help me, and I was a bit afraid of it. And so since then, I think she did kind of change my mindset a little bit and allow me to be more resilient.
Characteristics of resilient people is resilient people, when difficult situations arise, they don't blame the situation, they don't blame other people, they don't blame themselves, But what they ask is, what is it I could do differently to change the situation? So it's easy to say, but not always easy to do, because there are a lot of situations that are not very happy. But what I've tried to do over the years is to look at what is within my power, what I call in my writings, my personal control to change things. Because as a therapist, I've seen so many people who are looking for their happiness by someone else changing first or the situation changing. But true resilience for me is to take ownership for our own lives. And in many of my books, I say we are the authors of our own lives. That there are events that happen we may have no control over. What we do have control over is our attitude and response to those events.